Hi, I'm Rob, but for the purpose of this video on placement CVs, my name is Jeff Fizzwidget. Okay, right, so it's placement CV, you're going to send it to David Sond and he's going to send it on to everybody else. So you don't need to tell people it's a placement CV, you don't need a whopping great big title saying this. It's pointless and it's a waste of room. Okay, so the first information that you need to put on is your name and contact details. Obviously your name needs to be a little bit bigger than everything else because it's one of the more important things. And then after that, maybe if you put your address and a contact number. Obviously they don't want to be ringing somewhere in Venezuela if they're in the UK. So if you have a mobile number or some other kind of contact number that they can use to contact you directly, then that's brilliant. Next of all, you need to put an email. Now I don't mean your standard email that's something like One Direction Forever lolcats at hotmail.co.uk. It looks stupid and they probably don't want to reply to it. Okay, so if you put a formal email, hey, even make a formal email and check it every now and again. Maybe just use your name, so Jeff Fizzwidget 1@gmail.com, that's pretty cool. It's concise, they know who they're replying to, and it looks formal. Okay, now I've put my date of birth in. A lot of places would recommend that you didn't, but I think depending on the job title you're going for, a lot of places are starting to move out the old people and move in the new people, because as people get older can't do quite as much, and then new people come in that can do it better. It's rotten, but hey, that's kind of the way it goes now. So yeah, you may not want to, but I've chosen to. Obviously I wasn't born in the year 5813. This is an example, not the real thing. I will ask though that you do not copy anything from the rest of my CV, because all of this from here on is what I'm actually using. So it just wouldn't be cool if you did. Okay? Now you want to put straight after that any experience that you've had that is directly relevant to the positions that you're going for. So if you're doing biomed or biochemistry, you want to show anything that maybe shows that you've worked in a lab or worked in a clinical environment. Okay? So I'm doing a placement in semester 3 this year. Now it's being confirmed and therefore I can put it in because I know what I'm doing and I know I'm definitely doing it. So if you're doing a placement soon, you know you're doing it and it's all confirmed, you know what you're doing, please put it in because it shows you know what you're on about roughly and they don't have to waste as much time training you. Obviously if you've done no relevant information, don't put it, you just have to make yourself shine in your other work experience and your profile. Okay, so if you haven't done any industrial placements or have any work experience, it's a good idea to put a profile. Now profile would just show kind of what you do in a day-to-day situation, but show how it expresses your personal traits. So punctual, reliable, and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So I've put I'm doing placement at KidScan. Now this is a very good time to set yourself up for questions, because in an interview they're going to ask you questions about what you've done to make sure that you actually know what you're on about and that you're not lying to them. So for example, I've put that I will be doing MTT assays and flow cytometry. So I know what they are and I've included them in the CV. So odds on they may ask me, "Ooh, what is an MTT assay?" or "How have you learnt to do flow cytometry?" And you'll know. So you're setting yourself up for an easy question that you know how to answer. And it makes yourself sound like a genius. Okay? That sounds pretty cool to me. Next thing. Now, you want to include your education and qualifications. So we're going to do a placement from university. So the best thing you could probably do now is put your university education. See, it's when you started university till the present, because you're still there. And what university you go to. University of Salford. Then tell them what degree you're doing. So I'm doing a Bachelor's of Biochemistry. Now, Liverpool University and Salford University do not do the same biochemistry course, so you should include your modules. Okay, so that explains what you're actually doing within your degree. And that's a good thing, depending on what you're doing. So if you're going into a clinical environment, they want to know that you're doing a clinical genetics and immunology practical. Not practical, module, obviously. And you want to put what degree class you're expected. Now, if you don't know this, you can either go to the administration or your head of year, and they can find out for you. If you don't want to do that, you could do what I've done and just use what you got last year as what you expect to get. Because hey, everybody puts more effort in the second year. They actually go to the library once and maybe borrow a book and take it back the day later. But you're learning to put an effort in. And so you include what you did in the first year as well, and what marks you got for the individual modules. Because if you're doing a module in molecules to microbes and you're going into a clinical lab that looks at microbes, and that's a good thing to know. So it shows that you know a lot about that subject and you're doing really well in it. It's an intelligent thing to put. Okay, next thing to put is what you did before you went to university. How did you get there? So your last education establishment. So for my instance, I went to Winstanley College. Before that, I went to Hockley Hall High School. I got A-levels, but before that, I got things like GCSEs. Now, for this, you really just need to put what subject you did and what grade you got. They don't need to know what modules you did within the chemistry, or within the maths, or within the physics. The physics was abysmal, as you can see. Don't do it. Please just don't do it. Also, it's a very good idea if you've done qualifications that are dated or expire, you kind of need to put in when they expire. Because if you've done a first aid course 5 years ago, they expire after 3. So you don't want to claim that you've done a first aid course and got the certificate for it, because they will assume that it's still in date. And obviously it may not be. And that's a bit of hassle for them if they're thinking that, wow, you can give CPR. Oh wait, no, you're not qualified to do it anymore. Okay? So that's what you need to put. Obviously put the dates you were there, the name of the institution, maybe where it is. Okay? Next, work experience. Now, they don't need to know that you stacked beans on aisle 3 or cleaned up spillages on aisle 7. They want to know what qualities that you displayed there, or how you had a direct impact upon the store, or wherever you worked. So, and you really want to express your traits. So if I've put, I'm required to count in till floats and balance the tills at the end of the day, that shows I'm reliable, because they are trusting me with their money. And I can work independently, because I work usually independently in the tilling area, and I work with a team too, so I'm a team player. Okay? Because depending on where you go, you're going to have to work with people in maybe other labs or in other situations, or people that know more than you and you need information from them. You want to show that you can be a social person. Even if you're not, it's a good idea to give an indication that you are. And you do that for each of your jobs. Again, not saying I serve pints at every football match at the DW Stadium in Wigan. Okay? You just want to show what you did that shows a trait that makes you sound amazing. So I was trusted at the tavern to open up in the morning. Now that takes a high amount of trust and reliability. So that's the kind of things that you want to put on. Administrative roles or managerial roles, they are key. Put them in if you've done them, and it makes you sound like gold. Next, you want to put your interests, because you want to show that you're a 3-dimensional being. Obviously we are 3-dimensional beings, but I mean personality-wise. They don't want to think that you go to uni or go to work, go home, you cease to exist, and then you go to work or go to uni, cease to exist, go to work, go to uni. It's boring, They want to know what you do in your spare time, to maybe think, oh yeah, he seems like the sociable type, or he could get on with our members of staff, or in our environment. So you don't want to put things like, I play WoW every evening from 7 till 8. Nobody plays WoW from 7 till 8. They get lost in the time and spend about 7 or 8 hours on it. I do. So just things like, I enjoy playing games. Do not, under any circumstance, say, I like to socialise with my friends. Everything you do with other people is socialising. You don't need to put that. Even watching this with someone is socialising. They don't need to know. Also, if you're a member of any societies, please put that down, because it is gold to them. It shows that you take an active interest in a particular field. Okay, so for instance, I'm a member of the Biochemical Society. They don't need to know why I'm a member necessarily. I'm there because I want a grant from them. But they don't need to know that. So put, yeah, I'm a member of Biochemical Society, or the Biological Society, or something like that. And maybe something else like, I enjoy cycling. Now really what I do is I ride to the train station every day, and if it's a nice day, maybe I'll go down the canal. But they don't need to know that. They're brief and lovely. Okay? After that, you need to back up what you've just said about your university and your work experience in educations. Okay? You need to put referees. So if you pick a academic reference and a work reference, that is brilliant. Obviously, you should probably put a contact method on there, so maybe a phone number or an email address or something to those effects. I haven't. I'm stupid. I'm going to go do that later, okay? Now, I've put Dr. David Pye. That's because I've talked to him maybe 3 or 4 times, and he's the person I'm doing the placement for. So he knows a bit about me as compared to, I don't know, Butchie or whoever. If you know who Butchie is, then you're a legend. And then, obviously for your work reference, it's a good idea if you use your most recent employment. So my most recent employment is Botany Bay, so I've included my supervisor, because she is in a higher authority than I am, and she knows a bit about me. Okay? So that is a brief description of a placement CV. Try to keep it to 2 pages, because they don't want to sit down and have to read a book. They may be academics, they may have to deal with paperwork all day. The last thing they need is another massive essay to read. Okay? So go and have a go. If you manage to do it, that's great. If you don't, contact someone who obviously knows more than I do, because they're out there and there's loads of them. Like David Sond. Okay? So this is me giving you a brief summary on what to do for a placement CV.